So John, tell us a little bit about Gannon and Scott, all that you do for the finishing industry.
Mhm. So I think like to take a step back. If you were
Hmm.
a plate shop or somebody in the electroplating industry, um, do you know how you're sending off any precious metal bearing material, whether it's solutions, filters, resins, that kind of thing, and you're not sure A, if you're getting all the value, or B, if everything is going to be done okay, so you don't get in trouble as the generator. Well, that's what we
Right.
do. We take it in, we make sure that, as far as a recovery standpoint, we're maximizing your recovery and as well doing everything environmentally in a sound way to protect our customers so that they don't have to worry. I'm sure, as you
Right.
know, as a generator, they're ultimately responsible. So if we do something wrong, even if it's not even their material, if we do
Right.
something wrong in our facilities, and we become a Superfund site, well, government can come
Right.
in and say, who shipped to these guys? And let's get them to pay for it. So
Right.
that's why our saying is recover more, worry less. And the company has been doing it since 1919.
Right, right.
Which is
Yeah,
long.
talk about worry less. I mean, it is a big concern for a lot of shops. Whatever it is that they're generating, they're always asked to treat it either through the local municipality or to find a good partner to work with them on getting it offsite and to be treated that way. Most of shops I know are very big environmentalists. They really want to take care of these things. So it's good to have a
Right.
partner that they can rely on to kind of help them in that regard then.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what we aim to do. So we'll
Right.
help with the not just the refining end too, but some of this material that we have to pick up is tricky, whether it's a
Right.
cyanide or an acid. So in talking to the customers that we deal with, we do everything we can to make sure that I hope that doesn't pop up on your thing. Uh, um, we do everything we can to ensure that everything is done ethically and responsibly.
Right, right. So, give us an overview of the process that you all use to determine precious metal values in these plating solutions that you receive from the shops. Give us an idea
Right.
about that.
Specifically plating solutions, it depends on the type of solution that it is and the state that it comes in. If everything is soluble, like a gold cyanide is probably the easiest thing to talk about. Gold is in the solution, so it's not dropping out or anything like that. A simple sample of the solution itself is what we'll take. So we'll put that into a separate tank. We'll empty the drums. We'll rinse out the drums, make sure that they're empty. Make sure that nothing is chelated on the inside of the drums too, because that can occur. And if
Mm,
that's the case, we'll cut up the drums and burn them, and then
mm,
recover any precious metals that may have chelated on the inside. But the solution itself is just samples from various portions of the tank, and it's
mhm.
heated and agitated while it's in the tank using air bubbles to make sure that we get a nice homogeneous sample. And how the sample is taken is important too.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that you're getting it from the different quadrants of the tank, and also you want to make sure that when it's being put into the solution bottles that the sample's taken from, that basically you're filling up several bottles, like a third, a third, a third, a third, until they're all filled separately. You don't want to fill one bottle all the way and then go to another bottle and fill that up. You want to do a third of it, go to the next bottle, the next bottle, the next bottle. This way, there, that if the customer is taking a sample, and sometimes they'd like that, they have the same
Mhm.
exact sample that we have. And it's important to get that homogeneous mix. That's the biggest thing in everything that we do, is to get
Right.
the homogeneous mix of that sample. And then
Right.
from there, we'll actually do a fire assay on that
Mhm.
solution sample. And what this fire assay will do is give us a metal bead. If it's multiple metals in there, it'll be an all metal bead. And then we'll
Mhm.
do a separation process to separate the silver, and then an acid dissolution process to get out the PGMs, if there are any PGMs in the solution. So it's a old, complex technique, but it's still very, very accurate.
Right. Right.
Fire acid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said the metal value. What does that mean? Do they get some reimbursement for that, or how's that
Of
work with that?
course. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take the actual weight of that. If it's gold cyanide is the easiest thing to talk about. So if it's a gold cyanide bath, we'll take the actual bead, that final weight that represents X amount of gallons, and we'll say, okay, and this bead came from so many amounts of the liquid. We can extrapolate that to say you shipped us a 55-gallon drum. There were 55 gallons in it, and that bead represented 1 gallon. Then we know how much is in there per gallon, and then we'll say this is how much is in there in that solution, and then we'll pay the customer on that. And we can pay in a variety of different ways. We can pay them, send them a check, do what's called an ACH transfer,
Hmm.
um, or metal transfers. We can send metal to a supplier if they need potassium gold cyanide to replenish
Hmm.
their tanks. We can supply that as well. So now they don't have to buy the metal; they can just get it
Right.
back in PGC.
Right. Yeah. Like I
Right.
said, on top of that, they're also, like you said, they're getting this removed from their site as well, which
Yeah.
is very important to do that. Yeah.
We're, we're on the
Um,
move. I got to buckle up before this car yells at me and tells me.
yeah. It's funny you were talking about there are some other areas where these shops can also get some additional revenue. Talk a little bit about that and some areas that they may not even know that they could probably get some revenues out of.
Yeah. Yeah. So sunshine.
Yeah.
We're in a sunshiny state. Not used to this.
Yeah.
So for if you're a plate shop, you can look in so many different nooks and crannies of
Hmm.
this. Sorry, I'm sorry about bouncing around here.
Hmm.
Brian says we should be good. Say
Yeah.
this is up, Brian. Hi, Brian. Um,
Yeah.
so if you're a plate shop, the obvious ones are your racks. If you're rack plating, um, if you ever change out your tanks and they're like a polypropylene tank, send it to us. If it's a old tank, well, you're going to have metal that's been saturated, and it will be in that tank, and we can get it out by simple thermal reduction.
Hmm.
I always say, if it's something where it's not like a clean reel to reel plating operation, if you're going from one tank to a rinse tank, or if you're transferring it from one tank to another, you're gonna get some drips here and there. So cleanouts are I
Right.
would do quite often. So if you're mopping up your floor, save that. Even the mop
Hmm.
heads themselves, and you
Wow.
can
Hmm.
throw those mop heads right in with your filters. If you have filters, which should, and if it's filtering out these gold solutions, or any kind of solution that you're using, PGM solutions, or silver, just throw them right in, because it's
Right.
basically we're just going to incinerate all of it, in a thermal reduction, and then reclaim any precious metals on there. If there's an area, or say you're rack plating, and literally metal is falling off, like you have flakes of metal, vacuum those things up, save the vacuum bag. I would isolate that vacuum bag if we could, and just make sure that that's all you're using it for, and then we'll
Hmm.
burn that as well with the mop heads. So anything like you're using to wipe
Right.
things down, if you've got cloths, if you've got PPE, you're using gloves, throw those in a burn drum, and we can basically reclaim something from it. Doesn't take much with gold being at nineteen hundred
Right.
dollars an ounce.
Yeah.
Um,
Every bit you can get with that. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
even aprons, things like that. If there's solution on there, if there's gold solution on that apron, don't let the guy take it home. You want to you want to
Right.
put it in a burn drum, and we'll easily thermally reduce it, pay you back on any metal that we reclaimed from it.
Right. Those shops that aren't working with you all right now, they certainly could. Like I said, is it? I guess it's a pretty easy process. You give me a call and set up, I guess, a time to come and really do an evaluation of what it is that you all can do for them.
Yeah, exactly. What we love to do is actually walk the floor and see if
Hmm.
there's any opportunities for them to that they might be missing out on. We were in
Hmm.
one room where just the ductwork itself. I'm like, have you ever looked inside this ductwork? And they said, oh, well, no. Well, don't you know that the ductwork itself was all coated on the inside? So
Right.
um, simple things like that, air filters. Uh, if we can walk through and see something, we're like, what are you doing with this? Can't tell you how many people I've walked in plate shops that are paying people for to remove the sludge from the bottom of the tanks or from underneath the
Hmm.
tanks. Because it's a waste, it's a hazardous waste. So they just, all right, well, we pay some guy and he takes it away. I'm like, well, let's just try it. Let's see what we got.
Right.
And yeah, and usually we flip the script on that, and they'll end up with a big fat check instead of paying somebody else. That's the
Well, you
key.
can't. I was gonna say you certainly can't beat that with that. I
No,
mean, that's got to be
no.
fantastic. And like I said, people can your website. They can visit you there, and like I said, and call. And I'm sure, like I said, you guys would be glad to help them with that. A really neat way to, like you said, recoup some costs and really sustainability again with that of keeping instead of all these things going to the landfills and trying to reclaim as much as possible with that.
Exactly, exactly. And if if you're if you're stuck with something, like what do we do with this? We got a reclaim issue here. We'll help you talk, through it, just to say, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? We actually had somebody bring us a heater that wasn't operational. And like we
Hmm.
think it might have taken some gold on it. And what we'll do is we actually we'll actually look at it. And, the membrane on there was ripped, and it had over 60 ounces of gold underneath that membrane. So it's weird things like that. You just never know when they're going to pop up. So feel free to call us. We'll help you in any which way we can.